When the truck arrives, begin by unpacking the contents as well as find the packing list and the assembly manual located in the package labeled Hardware. In that same box are the plastic bags containing the hardware. Begin by laying out the ramp components and identifying the hardware parts. If your modular configuration requires a landing platform, place the landing platform on a set of sawhorses. Using sawhorses for assembly will facilitate installing the handrails. To install the handrails, you'll need a 1/2-inch deep well socket. First, make sure that the screws on the pre-installed handrail post block are loose enough to slide into the landing channel. This will allow the handrail to attach to the landing platform by sliding the handrail onto the landing channel of the landing platform base. Tighten down the fasteners of the handrail post block. For this installation, a handrail for an offset entrance is also being installed in the same manner as the two full-size handrails. For ease of assembly, install the legs onto the platform while it's still on the sawhorses. First, measure the distance from the ground to the surface where the landing platform will be installed. This will give you a rough length to use when installing the legs to the landing platform. To install the legs, you'll need a 1/2-inch wrench to secure the bolts when tightening down the fasteners. When installing the legs, it's important to place the leg onto the post in an offset position, as seen in the video. Measure the rough length for the back leg, slide it to that length, and tighten down the fasteners. The front legs can remain hand-tight until the landing platform is installed. The orientation of your platform will be predetermined ahead of time. Move the landing platform to the installation site and set the landing platform down in the proper orientation. Once the platform is rested at the desired location, loosen the bolts for the front legs and allow the landing platform to adjust to be level with the hard surface, and then tighten the bolts. Check for level by using a bubble level, or in this case, a smartphone. To assemble the ramp run, start with the entrance base. This is the ramp component where the plank at the end of the ramp is sloped. Lift it onto the sawhorses and remove the packaging. Open the entrance hardware kit and remove the nuts and bolts. Assembly hardware includes 5/16 by 1-inch carriage bolts, 5/16 washers, and 5/16 locking nuts. The first thing you'll need to attach is the entrance splice. There's a left and a right. Look for the slotted holes in the entrance splice that line up with the holes in the entrance base as shown. Using the 1/2-inch deep well socket, install the entrance splice to the entrance base. Next, attach a ramp base to the entrance base. For this demonstration, the entrance base was rotated around so one person could hold the entrance ramp while the other fastened the two ramps together. Lift the entrance ramp up next to the entrance base, line up the holes in the entrance splice, and tighten down the individual fasteners. The next step in the process is to add as many sections of the entrance ramp as needed. The recommended measurement is a 1:12 rise ratio. For every 1 inch of rise, you need 12 inches of ramp. Use a ramp splice to connect each ramp section you add. Ramp splices are universal, so there is no left or right side. Simply remove the hardware from the plastic bag and connect the ramp splice to the ramp and fasten down as shown. Continue this process until all ramp sections are attached with the appropriate mounting hardware. Next, set out the handrails for each ramp base. The entrance handrail is the only handrail that has 2 posts. After all the handrail sections are laid out, set out the hardware across the different sections of the ramp. Starting at the entrance base, attach the handrails by fastening them down to the ramp entrance using the provided hardware. Next, slide a handrail splice into the handrail tube using the provided notch in the handrail tube. To install the first single post handrail, note which side of the ramp you're working on, and refer to the ramp parts page to identify which single post handrails are left and which are right. Lift the single post handrail into position and slide the handrail tube onto the handrail splice, setting it into the notch on the handrail tube. Lift the single post handrail into position and fasten it down to the ramp base and ramp splice using the provided hardware. To connect the handrail tubes to the handrail splice, use a 5/32 Allen wrench and tighten the set screw. This is the same process that will be used to attach the remaining handrails to the ramp. Next, begin installing the lower handrail tube by starting at the back of the ramp and holding the tube on the inside of the posts. Slide the tube through the second lower handrail post hole as shown. Then, sliding the lower tube through the first post hole, insert a handrail splice. Tighten down using a 5/32 Allen wrench. For the next lower tube, start with it on the inside of the posts and slide it into the next post, and then align it up to slide back into the previous post to insert the tube into the handrail splice and tighten down using a 5/32 Allen wrench. Continue this process for the remaining lower handrail tubes, including the double handrail at the front ramp base. For the other side, start again with attaching the two-post handrail to the ramp base and then install the rest of the handrail sections in the same manner as the first side, including the lower handrail tubes. Once all the handrails and lower tubes have been installed, attach the MC end loops at the end of the ramp on both the left and right side. First, insert the tube splice in both the upper and lower handrail tubes. Next, attach the MC end loop and tighten down the set screws of the tube splices for both sets of handrails. Then, on the opposite end of the ramp at the entrance base, install the standard end loops. Install these loops in the same manner as the other end loops by inserting the tube splicers, inserting the end loops, and tightening down the set screws. The ramp has legs which attach in the offset manner and fasten into place on the ramp posts. Raise the legs all the way up and hand tighten. This will keep the legs out of the way while placing the ramp. At the entrance of the ramp, install two support brackets, one on either side, in the same offset manner as the legs. Attach them to the posts for the handrails of the entrance base. Before moving the ramp to the landing platform, use a drill with a 3/8" socket to drive down the provided 1/4" self-tapping screws to attach the post corner bracket for the landing. It's not critical where the bracket goes. In this example, it's placed near the top of the posts. Use the ramp attachment clip to connect the landing platform to the ramp base. Simply rotate the clip into place as shown. Move the ramp to a location near the landing platform and lift it up and onto the ramp attachment clip. Next, set the legs to the proper height and tighten down the fasteners. Loosen the attached legs, letting them settle on the hard surface, and tighten the fasteners down. The final step is to install the upper T by placing it in the gap between the landing platform and the ramp base. Secure the upper T by drilling the self-tapping screws provided on the outer edges of the plate as demonstrated. You may want to anchor to the ground or cement to help with inclement weather and added stability. By following these procedures, you'll assemble a ramp that is both strong and durable. If you have any additional questions, please refer to the assembly manual or contact PVI.